Hello, I'm Shelley Terrell, and I'm here with Ann Fox, and we're going to talk about online professional development for teachers and also share some technology tips for teachers starting out using technology with their students. Thank you for joining me today, Ann. Can you tell us a little about what you do?
Yeah, well, over and above what I do with the consultancy, I work a lot with European projects, which are usually about developing e-learning approaches to language teaching or intercultural competencies. I'm also an English teacher, although I'm moving more into coaching English language. And I was also recently a coach for interns who were doing their internships abroad. So I was trying to help people settle in all over Europe.
Okay, great. And what courses do you help tutor for with the consultancy?
Well, mainly I'm involved with the certificate in ICT, which is the 20-week course, which is fairly comprehensive. I've also done the WebQuest course, but those are the two that I've been involved with so far.
And how did you get involved with online teaching? And what is the best and worst part of online teaching?
I started way back in the 90s. I can't remember exactly which year, but there was a free course for teachers who wanted to try this online stuff at the University of Hull in the UK. And actually, that's in fact where I met Nikki Hockley, who's one of the bosses at the consultancy. But we didn't actually meet, we just worked together virtually. So how I started was by being a student myself. And that led me to do an MA online. And the other thing that's been a real big influence on me doing this stuff has been the free online sessions offered by TESOL at the beginning of each year. Because for the last 10 years, I think, they've been offering free sessions for the first 6 weeks of the year. And I've learned an awful lot there, mainly as a student, although I did try being a moderator a couple of years ago for one of their courses. So I guess I fell into it mainly by being a student myself first, an online student. And then those projects that I was mentioning, I would usually use a blended approach, so I don't think any of them were completely off online, but they usually always included an online element. So I guess I started the online teaching part of it through my project work.
And what would be a piece of advice that you would give teachers
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
With their students? What would be a piece of advice you would give to a teacher new to using technology?
Don't be afraid, I think is my advice, because these things are getting easier all the time. My favorite example of an easy website is a blog called Posterous. And the only thing you have to do to start with Posterous is send an email. It couldn't be simpler. You send an email to the address post@posterous.com. The title of your email becomes the title of your blog post. The message in your email becomes the content of your blog post. And if you want to illustrate it, all you have to do is add pictures and videos and so on as attachments to the email. It just couldn't be simpler. Obviously, you should try things out before you experiment on your learners, but I think that, things are getting easier all the time. And I think that the people who develop these online tools pride themselves on how easy and simple they can make them these days. So I would say don't be afraid and just try it out.
And so what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not teaching online?
I suppose I spend a lot of my spare time doing the podcast Absolutely Intercultural. So I'm still in front of the screen, but it gives me an excuse to get in contact with people all over the world. So it's been wonderful, actually, to to have that as an excuse. So I do the editing, I do the recording, and with my colleague in Germany, we put out a podcast every 2 weeks. So it keeps me pretty busy.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you at the consultancy.
Thank you very much.